Hello and welcome to the Ad Manager Summer Livestream series. My name is Matteo Pummi and I'm a partner manager here at Google. Before we get started, I wanted to highlight a couple things. One, please ask questions in the chat box as they arrive. If you have any questions after the live stream, feel free to leave a comment and we'll answer as soon as possible. And two, this live stream has playback enabled, which means that if you're watching live, you can actually rewind as well. So if you miss a key point or want to view a certain slide, feel free to jump back as needed. Now, we'll move into the presentation. Today, we'll discuss pricing rules and dynamic allocation. We will start by working through the agenda. Feel free to post any questions in the chat box, and we'll do our best to answer them at the end of the presentation. If we don't answer your question today, please check the FAQ doc that will be sent in the follow-up email to see if we answered your questions there. First, we'll cover target CPM. When you create unified pricing rules, you've prompted to select a pricing rule or target CPM. Pricing rules set a hard floor, which means that the winning bid must be equal to or more than the price floor. Target CPM provides a bit more leeway. Rather than setting a hard floor, winning bids can be higher or lower than your target CPM. But the average CPM of your inventory will be equal to or above your target CPM. So in summary, target CPM sets a target for the average CPM that you'd like to earn for your inventory, whereas pricing rules set a minimum amount that you'd like to accept for certain inventory. With pricing floors, you set a specific floor and no bids will be accepted unless they are equal to or greater than that floor. In this example, the publisher sees about 10,000 bids clear the auction on a given day. With target CPM enabled, this publisher would see about 2,000 more bids clear per day because the range of acceptable bids is expanded. This does not mean that overall revenue is lower, though. In fact, revenue increases as more bids are accepted, while the average CPM remains at least as high as the target CPM that you set. Let's walk through another example of target CPM in action. Let's say you use unified pricing rules and set a price floor of $10 for your inventory. In this auction, two bids come in, one for $5 and one for $15. Because of the price floor, the $5 bid is ineligible, so the $15 bid will win. Now, let's say instead of setting a pricing rule, you set a target CPM for $15 for your inventory. In auction 2, you have two bids that come in, one for $10 and one for $5. Both of these are below your target CPM value. If this was a price floor, both bids would be ineligible and the ad would go unserved. But because it's target CPM, the $10 bid will be accepted. Next, in auction 3, two new bids are placed, one for $15 and one for $20. Both of these bids are equal to or above your target CPM value. So here, Ad Manager will accept the bid that keeps your average CPM equal to or above the target CPM value. So bid 2 will win at $20. If bid 1 were to win, the average CPM would be below $15, which target CPM does not allow. By raising or lowering the price floor, target CPM allows for more competition and higher prices to help you capture the most revenue for each impression. Target CPM can also help to increase your fill rate. Fill rate refers to how often an ad opportunity successfully fills, which is a main driver in your overall revenue. If you have a target CPM opportunity in your account, you can simply click View Opportunity and then Apply in your account. When you allow your pricing rules to adjust through target CPM, you can reach more demand and increase your revenue. The opportunity gives you projected coverage and projected revenue lift you could reach after implementing the opportunity. This opportunity applies to all of your open auction pricing rules. If you'd like to enable target CPM for first look pricing rules, you'll need to manually enable them. If you don't have target CPM opportunity in your account, you can still enable it manually through your unified pricing rules. The implementation guide will walk through the exact steps, but this GIF outlines the overall process. You can report on target CPM performance in your query tool. Make sure to use the optimization type dimension to break down data into first look, optimized competition, and target CPM categories. Now, let's have our first break for questions. Are there any questions on target CPM? It looks like we have our first question. How do you determine what value to set your target CPM at? Now, this depends on your inventory. A good place to start is to set your target CPM to your current floor price and make adjustments as needed. If you implement target CPM through the Opportunities tab, Ad Manager will set the target CPM for you. It looks like we don't have any more questions right now, so let's move on. Next, we'll discuss first look pricing floors. In last week's session, we discussed First Look, which allows you to give a selected group of buyers priority access to specific inventory in exchange for higher CPMs. Within First Look, you can set buyer, advertiser, or brand-specific price floors. This allows you to set a minimum amount that you're willing to accept for priority access to that inventory. To win the auction, the bid must be no less than the price floor. If you haven't set buyer, advertiser, or brand-specific floor prices for your First Look inventory, you can set these in your First Look pricing rules. First Look pricing rules can be found within your Inventory tab. Click into Pricing Rules, then select the First Look Pricing Rules tab at the top. If you have First Look pricing rules set, we recommend setting these floor prices as low as possible. This is because with lower floors, you can generate more demand and achieve a higher fill rate. By lowering floor prices, you can increase the number of bids that are eligible to win the auction. This can help to increase coverage, which is a main component in increasing revenue. Your fill rate is the percentage of times that an ad request is filled. This is fundamental to generating revenue. With a higher fill rate, you earn more revenue. However, in relation to First Look, you should run an experiment before lowering your floor prices to ensure that your fill rate does not exceed 1 to 2%. You might see an opportunity in your account that recommends lowering your First Look floor prices. This is because Ad Manager thinks that your floor prices are too high and could generate more incremental revenue if they were slightly lower. To calculate the projected lift, we simulate an auction with different floor prices to measure how much revenue you would gain from changing floor prices. We'll only recommend changes in floor prices that result in a positive revenue lift. In this example, Ad Manager recommends adjusting 2 different First Look floor prices to be lower, which can increase the weekly First Look revenue. We recommend first running an experiment for this opportunity to determine which price floors are right for you. This is because lowering First Look floor prices can increase the fill rate too much, which can risk under-delivery of your direct reservations. You should aim for First Look fill rate to be around 1 to 2%. If your First Look fill rate is less than this, then you should use this opportunity to run an experiment to test lower price floors to raise your fill rate. To run an experiment, your account will set the default experiment percentage of impression traffic to 10%. However, we recommend increasing this to 30% to generate conclusive results on changes in buyer behavior. If not enough of your impression traffic is using the new floors, you likely won't see significant changes in buyer behavior. To test, click into your opportunity and rather than clicking Apply, select Experiment. Set a start and end date for your experiment as well as a percentage of traffic to test. Then click Start Experiment. Keep in mind that you can only run experiments if you have this opportunity available. If you're interested in testing with your First Look price floors, use the reporting tool to track coverage of First Look and determine whether you should lower your floors. We showed this slide last week, but we're going to reference this again. When you run an experiment, Ad Manager will return results directly to you via the Opportunities tab. However, you can also monitor performance using your reporting tool. Run an Ad Exchange historical report to monitor the coverage of First Look. Coverage is the percentage of ad requests that returned at least one ad. The equation for coverage is ad impressions divided by total ad requests multiplied by 100. If you see that First Look is winning outside of the 1 to 2% coverage rate, then you should raise or lower your floors. If First Look wins less than 1% of the time, then you should lower your floors. If First Look wins more than 2% of the time, then you should raise your floors. Okay, let's have our second break for questions. Does anybody have any questions on First Look price floors? Okay, first question is in. How are first look pricing rules affected by unified pricing rules? Even in unified pricing rules, first look will continue to allow you to earn incremental revenue from high-value bids. Buyers will compete on a first price basis, but will still have the opportunity to buy any inventory ahead of reservation inventory, as long as they meet the FL floor price. It looks like we have another question concerning target CPM. Can you specify a minimum with target CPM? Target CPM doesn't allow you to define a minimum CPM that you will accept, but Ad Manager will make sure that your average CPM is always equal to or greater than your target CPM. So it won't accept a bid amount that is so low that it lowers your average CPM outside of your target value. Let's see if we have any more questions. It looks like that's all for now, so let's move on. Next, we'll cover dynamic allocation. Before we begin discussing dynamic allocation, let's go over a quick refresher on line item priorities. When you create a new line item, you'll be asked to set a priority for it. Getting the priority right is key to serving ads effectively and getting the most value for your inventory. If you have a direct deal with a buyer, you should use guaranteed line items, which use a priority of sponsorship or standard. Sponsorship is for deals where buyers want a percentage of your impressions, say 10%. While standard is for when buyers want a specific number of your impressions, say 100,000. The other types of line items are non-guaranteed line items. For these, you can set priorities of network, bulk, or price priority. You can also create AdSense or Ad Exchange line items. We recommend running all non-standard or sponsorship line items at price priority to ensure that the highest paying bidder wins. Using price priority can help you to achieve higher CPMs and revenue growth. Dynamic allocation competes against guaranteed line items as well as non-guaranteed line items. Dynamic allocation is a really popular feature in Ad Manager that can help to increase your revenue. Through dynamic allocation, Ad Exchange line items can compete in real time with guaranteed and non-guaranteed line items. Here's how it works. Someone visits your website or app, and your ad tags request an ad to serve from Ad Manager. Based on this request, Ad Manager looks first for the best guaranteed line item eligible to serve and calculates a temporary CPM for this line item based on its delivery rate. If the guaranteed line item is ahead of its delivery schedule, the temporary CPM will be low. If the guaranteed line item is pacing behind its delivery schedule, the temporary CPM will be high to protect its delivery. Next, Ad Manager looks for an eligible remnant line item with the highest CPM. Then, Ad Manager calls Ad Exchange to see if Ad Exchange can beat the temporary CPM set for the guaranteed line item or the CPM of the remnant line item. Finally, Ad Manager selects the line item with the highest CPM to serve an ad. Ad Manager always protects your guaranteed ads by selecting the highest paying CPM. Guaranteed inventory is protected because if its delivery is behind schedule, the temporary CPM will be very high and will be the highest CPM ad in the competition. Let's walk through an example of dynamic allocation. When a user visits your site or app, an ad request is made from Ad Manager. Ad Manager looks through your available guaranteed inventory for an eligible line item. The eligible line item that it finds for this request is currently pacing ahead of delivery. Because of this, it sets the temporary CPM at $5. Next, Ad Manager searches through eligible remnant line items and finds a price priority line item with a CPM of $3. Finally, Ad Manager calls Ad Exchange to see if it can return any bids that beat the price priority or temporary CPM. Ad Exchange returns a bid for $6.50. Since this Ad Exchange bid is the highest CPM, Ad Manager serves the Ad Exchange line item and it serves an ad. Dynamic allocation is one of the key benefits of using Ad Manager. When you use dynamic allocation, you open up your inventory to new demand, which increases competition and can help to increase your revenue. Dynamic allocation allows you to earn the most money from every impression by making sure that you're accepting the highest paying bids while protecting your guaranteed inventory. Allowing ad exchange to compete for your impressions can both increase coverage and increase eCPM. It does this by 1. Adding a new demand source that can fill requests that other networks can't. When you're able to fill more ad requests, your coverage increases. 2. By adding another network to the auction, you increase your competition. Increasing competition means networks may have to increase their bid amount to win, which can increase your eCPM. Key benefits of dynamic allocation include revenue uplift. Google will only serve the impression when it can offer a better price compared to your other line items. Real-time CPMs. Get real-time bids from Google that automatically compete for your inventory. Fill rate. Google has one of the highest fill rates in the industry due to its large pool of advertisers. Earn money on impressions that would go otherwise unfilled using backfill. And finally, low maintenance, a set it and forget it solution. You won't have to update rates for Google. Instead, use that time to focus on your content. For this opportunity, Ad Manager uses projected coverage and projected eCPM to calculate the underestimated revenue lift. If you have an Allow Ad Exchange to Compete opportunity in your account, you can click Apply to enable competition. When you click Apply, Ad Manager creates an ad exchange yield group with compatible targeting. If you don't have the opportunity available in your account, you can allow ad exchange to compete at the line item level. When enabling ad exchange dynamic allocation, you'll want to create a new order with ad exchange as the advertiser and create a new line item. Set your line item type to ad exchange and add all of the relevant ad unit sizes that you'd like to be eligible for dynamic allocation. Once you've saved your new order and the line item, click into the Line Items Creatives tab and click Automatically Generate Creatives. This will create dynamic creatives for your ad exchange line items. Once you add your creatives, approve the order and ad exchange will start being eligible to compete through dynamic allocation. If you don't have ad exchange, you can also allow AdSense to compete. This can be enabled at the ad unit level or line item level. To enable at the ad unit level, click into your ad units and into their settings. Enable AdSense inventory settings. This will allow AdSense to compete. You can also enable AdSense competition at the line item level. Enabling dynamic allocation at the line item level can be beneficial for various reasons. You can compare performance of AdSense line items to other line items in your ad stack. You won't have to go one by one to update the settings for all of your ad units. You mitigate the risk of accidentally omitting ad units from dynamic allocation by having a run of network AdSense line item. You can still exclude specific ad units from dynamic allocation if desired. And to enable dynamic allocation at the line item level, check your admin tab to make sure your AdSense and Ad Manager accounts are linked. If linked, you should have the ability to create an AdSense line item. Keep in mind, AdSense will not override direct deals. Dynamic allocation protects the delivery of guaranteed line items. If you'd like to exclude certain ad units from dynamic allocation, we recommend creating separate ad units for the inventory that you don't want to fill with AdSense. Be sure that backfill with AdSense is disabled. When enabling dynamic allocation, keep these best practices in mind. First, for remnant line items that use third-party networks, make sure you're using the most up-to-date and accurate CPMs. This is essential for Ad Manager to ensure that the highest paying bid actually wins. You can set value CPMs for these line items and should update them at least once per month. As a start, use the average CPM on the given ad network's interface. You should also enable frequency caps for your line items. The value of an impression served to a user decreases over time as it's served repeatedly. Frequency caps can help you control how often an ad network serves an impression to the same user. You'll want your ad network fill rate to be as close to 100% as possible. To get there, we recommend starting with a frequency cap of 3 to 4 impressions per user per day. Monitor movements in your fill rate and adjust your frequency cap to be more or fewer impressions per day. If your fill rate is low, lower your frequency cap, and your fill rate is high, increase your frequency cap until it's in the 90 to 100% fill rate range. Let's have another break for questions. Are there any questions about any of the discussions that we discussed today? While people submit questions, one question we got last week from a viewer was if the Opportunities and Experiments tab is only available in DV360. The Opportunities and Experiments tab is a feature in Ad Manager and is available for all of your inventory. Most opportunities relate to adjusting pricing rules and opening up your inventory to more demand. You can find the tab by opening up your Ad Manager interface and looking at the tabs across the top. Here you'll see Overview, Delivery, Advertisers, Ad Speed, and Opportunities. Your opportunities will sit within the Opportunities tab. You can also view them in your Insight card on the home page. Here's another question. Is it still correct that first look ads are eligible to be selected over direct sold sponsorship priority line items if the FL floor price is met? Yes, that's correct. First look ads will be selected over directly sold inventory if the first look price floor is met. The main change with the new first price auction is that first look now competes on a first price basis. So buyers pay what they bid and will win so long as the bid is above the first look price floor. You should monitor your first look performance through and make sure that the first look only wins 1 to 2% of the time to avoid underdelivery of your guaranteed inventory. Here's another question. Will there be any conflict if I have a first look rule for pre-roll at 15% and then a unified pricing rule for pre-roll at $10? First look pricing rules are separate from unified pricing rules. So if you have a first look pricing rule for a specific group of your inventory, that will still take priority if the first look price floor is met. Another question we've received is about how to rewatch the live streams. You can rewatch the live streams using the same link in the email titled Your Livestream Link, or you can watch on the Google Ad Manager on-air website. While we'd love to have everyone watch live so that they can ask questions, you're welcome to watch the recording on your own time and leave questions in the comments section. Here's another one. Would dynamic allocation trump a sponsorship takeover? This will only happen if the sponsorship isn't at 100% impressions and is pacing above target. How does first look pricing impact exchange bidding? Pricing rules and blocking rules are managed by each exchange and need to be configured in the third-party exchange's system. Pricing and blocking rules configured in Ad Manager won't apply across third-party exchanges. Here's another one. Does the ad server average eCPM metric represent the dynamic allocation closing price? You should use AdX average CPM to measure dynamic allocation closing price. The ad server average CPM is ad server CPM plus CPC plus CPD plus vCPM revenue divided by ad server impressions times 1,000. I'm going to repeat that because it might have been a bit confusing. Ad server CPM plus CPC plus CPD plus vCPM revenue divided by ad server impressions times 1,000. So not the closing price. Here's another one. Can you please explain exactly where exchange bidding bids compete in dynamic allocation? A unified auction along with AdX at the end? Dynamic allocation allows ADX to compete only if guaranteed line items are over-delivering or against remnant line items on a price basis. So it happens in the auction. Let's see if we get any more. Here's another. What are the main differences between unified pricing and first look pricing? Unified pricing rules centralizes management of target CPM, or floor prices across all your programmatic demand. First look pricing only applies to your first look enabled inventory. That means that they're set in different places, just to clarify. All right, that looks like that's all the questions we have for now. So here's a bit about what to expect next week in the Livestream series. Thanks for joining us today. Please provide your feedback in the survey email that will be sent out later today. Tune in next week for the Livestream on viewability.